Okay, is it time for a tier list? I think it might be, ladies and gentlemen. We are heading into season 4 tomorrow, and we want to know who is going to be the best. Now, there's not many balance changes going into effect for season 4, but what there is a bunch more secondary stats which can affect balance, as well as tier changing. So some people have the exact same tier, some people have different tier, which means the strength of your tier could either have gotten better depending on what was voted on, or it could have gotten significantly worse depending on what was voted on. So without further ado, I say we hop in, take a look at the tier list, and start rating people based off what tier they've gotten and kind of where they're going. So we can do that right now, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna need your help with some things. So we've got S, A, B, C, D. Fine. I'm gonna add an additional row, as always, for tanks. All right, so I'm gonna put all the tanks on the board, just really, really quickly. Tanks are going on the board. This is overall or certain bracket. I'm gonna say overall, and you know what? I'm gonna include, yeah, I think this is an overall. This is kind of like the tier list, like, do you want to be good at everything? You know, like, very well-rounded, you want to be good in threes. And when I talk about all the classes, I might leave some caveats this time, because sometimes people will disagree with me, which is totally fine, you can. But sometimes I think it's worth mentioning when, like, a spec is good specifically in 2s or 3s or shuffle, and that doesn't completely discount them, you know? So, I'm just gonna get right into it, guys, okay? I'm gonna get right the frick into it right now. Let's start with healers. So for healers, I'm going to put Mistweaver monks at A tier for punch monks. Now, I'm not actually exactly sure. Do you guys know what tier we? Just pardon me. I just want to double check the tier that monks are going to be getting here. So we'll go here, monks. Mistweaver monk, they are getting the exact same tier. So their tier is not going to change. Punch monks are getting a little bit of nerfs. If this was only caster monk, I'd probably put it down to like C tier, to be honest with you. Not the best. Has decent throughput, has some mana issues, but punch monks I think are up there at A tier right now. I think they're overall pretty strong, especially in the right comp when they're enabled by things like Ret Warrior. And in shuffle, I think the chaos of them can be good too. So thank you, JDR. So we'll go ahead and put Mistweaver monk here. It's sort of kind of like everything, like solo shuffle and rated 3s, yeah. I just want people to have a general understanding of what I think the meta will be like and what classes and specs I think will be good. So Holy Paladin, I genuinely think Holy Paladin is pretty good in solo shuffle, but in rated 3s, I think Holy Paladin really lacks right now. It's not too bad, but it has serious mana problems. Like, I think Holy Paladin might have the worst mana in the game. So Holy Paladin for me is going to go down to B tier. I think it has some comps that are okay. It's got decent throughput. The cooldowns are nice. And shuffle, I think it's really nice. But for like rated 3s and stuff like that, you just run out of gas so quick. You know? You run out of gas so quick. We can take a look at what tier they're going to be getting. So they are getting Holy Shock Critical Strikes. Heal for more. Maybe this tier will be nice. Is that? I think this tier is an actual buff for Holy Paladins, right? So that'll be nice. Yeah, Holy Paladins looking decent. I would still put them at B tier though. We can move forward to Resto Druids. I think Resto Druids super solid as well. They're going to be going up to A tier. I'd say my biggest issue with Resto Druids is they go out of mana. They have to drink. Like, they're like a Paladin. You have to drink. They might even be worse than Paladin for mana efficiency's sake. They have really good heals and throughput, and if you can land crowd control, it's really nice. But yeah, they just have really big problems with drinking. So that's why they're not S tier. If they didn't have to drink, they'd be S tier, but because they have to drink, I'm going to put them at A. Okay, and I'm actually going to put them ahead of Punch Monk. Disc Priest, I think I'm going to put Disc Priest at C tier as well. Or at, I'm gonna put Disc at... I'll put Disc at C tier, I think. I think Disc is overall, objectively, probably one of the worst healers. It has really good mana. So one of the good things about Disc in 3s is it has really good mana. The problem is its throughput. You fall behind really, really quickly. But who knows what that'll look like. Maybe if you get more secondary stats, more mastery, it'll feel a little bit better. I actually think discs are getting some slight changes. I'm not exactly sure on the tier that they're getting. Is disc getting good, better or worse tier? Here. This is complicated. I don't like looking at it like that. It's getting more atonement healing, same tier, same tier. Okay, so disc probably gonna stay the same. Holy Priest, I'm actually gonna put up to S tier. I think Holy Priests are insane right now. I think Holy Priest's ability to heal, Holy Priest's ability to defend themselves from crowd control, absolutely wild. I think they also contribute offensively really well. And Presevoker as well. So Presevoker and Holy Priest, I think, are absolute. And like in terms of threes, these healers are absolutely the best, and they're insanely good in solo shuffle as well. I think they have really, really high HPS, but the thing that makes them so strong is they have a lot of added damage. They can really assist offensively, and their mana is also good. And Prez is getting its best tier back with the instant living flame procs. Like when you use your instant heal, you proc instant living flame. So I think Evoker is going to do even more instant healing and even more instant damage, and it's going to be really strong. So I think it's going to be the best. If you're looking for a healer, I recommend Holy Priest and Presevoker. I think they're very strong. All right. Let's get into melee DPS. Fury Warrior, I'm putting at C tier. I'll put a D tier. I think, yeah, Fury Warrior is just not great. It just doesn't have many specs. It's not that bad. Like, you can play it and do okay, but just compared to its brother Arms and other melee, it seems overall pretty weak. Oh, Resto Shaman. I forgot Resto Shaman. Resto Shaman's at A tier. Resto Shaman is another one of those healers. Has a really good offense. The thing is, like, Resto Shaman throughput, I guess, and higher dampening maybe struggles a little bit, but they have really good mana. They have really good disruption. They have good offensive capabilities, good defensive capabilities. I love playing with Resto Shaman. I love when a Resto Shaman's on my team, and I hate fighting them. They're very strong. Resto Shaman is super fun. I'm actually going to put it ahead of Druid as well. So I think this is like my healer ranking, which I think is a very fair ranking for this season and next season. Melee DPS, I'm going to put Fury down at D tier. So it's pretty fun, but it just seems like it lacks something. It just doesn't, it feels like it's lacking something, you know? All right, Feral Druid. Feral Druid, I want to put at S tier. I think in 3v3, Feral Druid is S tier. Actually, I'm just putting Feral Druid at S tier. I think Feral Druid is fucking crazy. To be honest with you, I think it's really good. Oh my god, the Qs are popping. We got Feral Druid S tier. I think, you know, it lacks a little bit of defense in specific games, but in other games, like if it's two melee, like a warrior and a windwalker monk just running you down the whole game and you don't have help, it feels like you're just dead as a windwalker monk, or sorry, as a Feral Druid. But yeah, its ability to actually get out crowd control and cyclones and just control the game, they feel really, really tanky to take down if they're good. And, you know, weaving in and out of the battlefield at the right time. So I'm putting Feral up in S tier. 100% Feral Druid's S tier in threes for sure. 100%. Unholy Decay. Unholy Decay, I'm going to put at B tier. Normally, I like to put Unholy pretty high, but I think it's like, it's very mid. It's not awful. It's not that great. It has some survivability issues. I'm putting Unholy Decay at B tier. I'm going to put Frost Decay at C tier. I feel like it functions very similar to Unholy Decay, but it's just worse because you can only really win in setups. Like you're very bursty and you only do any damage in Pillar of Frost. Outside of Pillar of Frost, you do literally no damage at all. And in threes, you have to win in setups. And there are some comps that you can actually do it. Like the Dev Evoker or Frost Decay isn't too bad, but yeah. I think DKs overall are on the semi-weak side. With that in mind, there are matchups that they're decent at, and I do think they're pretty fun to play. So I wouldn't completely give up on the spec, because I actually really enjoy playing them both. Havoc Demon Hunter. Havoc Demon Hunter fell off a cliff. Demon Hunter is still good. Well, it didn't fall off a cliff, but Demon Hunter is no longer S tier. I'm not going to put Demon Hunter S tier. I'm going to put it at A tier, though. I think it's still good. I think comps like Boomy DH are really, really strong. I think it's overall better than Unholy Death Knight as well. So I'll put it at A tier. Boomy DH isn't bad. in threes. Boomkin S tier. I think Boomkin is the best caster in the game. I think Boomkin's the best caster in the game, followed by Mage, probably. Yo, Kim, thanks so much for the prom. I do appreciate that, my brother. Yeah, I think Boomy's the best caster in the game. Yep, very strong. Good in shuffle, good in threes. Super duper good. Devastation Evoker, I'm going to put it A tier. I think in both shuffle and threes, Devastation Evoker is super strong. Probably the strongest it's ever been. So I think it's really solid. Feel very comfortable putting it at A tier right now. BM Hunter. What are we thinking about BM Hunters? I don't fight BM Hunters that often. I'm going to put it... I'll put it at A tier. A or B? I'm thinking. They're losing their set. So BM Hunters are losing their set. Could put them down in the B. They are easy to play. Survival's A, BM B. I think that's true, yeah. What about Marks? Where do we put Marks? I'm going to put BM Hunter at B. Put Survival Hunter at A. I think Survival Hunter is also like one of the best it's been in a really long time. Super good spec. People are playing things like Survival Boomkin and doing extremely well with it. Wait, so Boomkin is actually getting even more damage. Nice, they're getting their best tier. That's sick, dude. Boomkins are great. I hate Boomkins. Like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think the combination of Boomkin and Prez Evoker is completely overpowered. I think it's like the best combo in the game. That's my prediction for the AWC is that we're gonna see a lot of Boomkins and a lot of Prez Evokers. I could be wrong about that. I'm willing to be wrong, but I think that's what we're gonna see. All right. So Frost Mage. Frost Mage, I'd say right now is actually really good. A lot of people would consider Frost Mage S tier. I don't think it's on the same level as Boomkin. I don't even know if I feel comfortable putting it at S tier. Do you think Frost Mage is S tier? It might be. Maybe. It's either A plus. I think it's like the top of A. Yeah, I think it's the top of A. Frost Mage is definitely really good. Arcane Mage as well. Arcane Mage is super good. Like both Arcane Mage and Frost Mage, I think are in a really, really good spot. And believe it or not, I think Fire is not that bad either. I think Fire is a little bit more niche. But I think it's really good. I might even put Fire at A. You think Arcane is S? You think Arcane is S? Arcane Outlaw Holy Priest is arguably better than Boomy Prez. Okay. You've convinced me. I think you're right about that. Arcane S tier. Arcane is joining the Boomkin. I do think that's another really good comp that people are playing is the Holy Priest. So Holy Priest, Arcane, and that leaves us to Outlaw. 100% S tier. Remaining S tier. Very strong. Insanely good. Outlaw is very, very, very fucking good right now. All right. Is there any other S tier DPS specs right now? Feral, Boomkin, Outlaw, Arcane. I'm gonna put Feral below. So I think Feral is gonna be below Outlaw for me. Windwalker Monk is getting some tier 2. That's really strong. Windwalker Monk is A tier right now, I think. Windwalker is really strong. Getting big damage buffs as well. Asa is really good too. Asa is super slept on. Asa is very, very good. Like, surprisingly good. I think Asa might be one of the most underrated specs in World of Warcraft right now, to be honest. Demo's going to be strong? Is it? Rets always get ranked low? Rets never get ranked low. Not by me. Not by me. They don't get ranked low. Hell no, bro. Rets are up there. They're fucking insane. Rets are very good. They're A tier for sure. And in Shuffle, I think Rets and Shuffle are fucking S tier. That's what I think. Call me crazy, but I do. But we'll leave them at A. All right, Marks Hunter. What are we thinking for Marks Hunter? B tier? A solid B tier? Down with the Fire Mage and BM Hunter. Niche, decent. The Dece, but niche. Or is it C? Yeah, most specs are feeling pretty good right now. Shadow Priest, easy A tier, I think. Shadow Priest, caveat with Shadow Priest, they're very annoying to play, but if you play them well, they're insanely strong. I think Shadow Priests are really, really good. How's MM not S tier? It's just not. Shadow Priest is good. I don't know what's going on with Shadow Priest tier. Shadow Priest is actually losing it. Not a single Shadow Priest above rank 1 threshold on EU and 3v3. Yeah, that is weird. That is weird. But EU is just like not, I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to look at some stats. 3v3, top 500. Well, let's do cutoffs actually. So cutoffs for US, there's 5 Shadow Priests and only one of them is an alt. So there's 4 unique Shadow Priests within range. There's more Shadow Priests than Windwalker Monks. And we think Windwalker Monks are really good. Wasn't Unholy Decay and B tier? I'm curious on whether they're that bad. Unholy Decays aren't that bad, but they're not very good. They're okay. Like they're good in certain situations, but overall they're not that good. Holy, Boomy, and Mage. Yeah, tons of Frost Mages, Arcane Mages, Boomies. Ellie Shamans are kind of slept on right now. I think Ellie Shamans are better than people think. But, yep. Ellie Shaman's easy A tier as well, I think. Shadow Priest, by the way, I actually, you know what? I'm gonna demote Shadow Priest to B tier. Because if we're talking about tier, I think Shadow Priest is losing. They have an insane tier right now, and it's getting worse. So I'm actually gonna demote. I'm gonna demote them. They've been demoted, but I do think they're better than BM Hunters and Fire. Yeah. This is more accurate. Enhancement Shaman, I think are B tier. Not bad. They're decent. Not the best. Situationally good. If you're really good on Enhance, you can definitely get a lot of work done, which is very cool. So Enhancement Shaman, big fan. Subtlety Rogue is decent. What do we think about Sub? I personally think Sub is actually worse than Asa and Outlaw. I think Sub might be the worst rogue spec right now. Thoughts? All right, cool. So Sub's B tier. Arms Warrior, A tier. For sure. I think Arms Warrior is A tier. Really solid. Now for Warlocks. Warlocks are a weird one. So Destro is actually... It's really interesting because I feel like Warlocks have fallen off a bit. Like, Warlocks to me are not bad. In Shuffle, I think all 3 specs of Warlocks are really strong. But you'll see there's not that many Warlocks that are high rated. I guess there's a decent amount. 7 Destro, 4 Demo, 1 Affliction. What's Europe looking like? 6 Affliction, 2 Demo, and 1 Destro. So normally I feel like Warlocks are a little bit more well represented. And I think one of the main culprits for why Warlocks aren't doing too well is Double Dispel. I think the meta is just not good for them right now. I think with how good like these S tier comps are, like Boomy Evoker and Holy Priest, Arcane Mage, Outlaw, things like that, it's just hard for them to get anything going. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of like, I can't help but feel like all Destro's actually losing its tier too, so that's gonna hurt it. So I feel like Destro's A. Demo probably A. And Affliction. What do you guys think? Affliction A? All right, I need a little backup on this one. Do you guys think all 3 Warlock specs are A tier? I think so. I would say yes. Check Warriors on EU. Yeah, Warriors not really popular on EU. You're 100% right about that. I don't like, EU is really weird. So in EU, there's 0 successful Fury, 0 successful Enhance, 0 successful Beast Mastery, 0 successful Unholy, 0 successful Frost, only 1 Warrior and 2 Rats. And on NA, it's a plague of Rets. Tons of Rets and tons of Warriors. It's very interesting. All right, guys. So this is what I got for the tier list. I'm ready. I'm ready and willing and able for you guys to tell me what I got wrong. I want double check. Like I want you guys to double and Og C tier. Og C tier. I want to know what you guys think. Am I totally? You'd put Unholy at D tier? No. I wouldn't put Unholy at D tier. Devastation is about to be S+. Yeah, maybe. You put BM and MM on C tier. BM and MM. I think you might be right about that. You dislike my B tier? What would you change about it? You know, I like to hear what you guys have to say too. Like, let's see. The floor is open. Make some arguments. Convince me I'm wrong. So you would demote. Affliction could be argued B tier. It's only one viable comp. Frost should be with Fury and Unholy. C tier. I think Demon Hunter is C tier. NA Warriors win trade. Make them D. At least C for Unholy just compared to the other specs on the list. Shadow Priest B. But you think Unholy is worse than EM Hunter? Arcs Hunter? I don't know about that. There's 0 BMs on EU and NA. Yeah, but I'm talking about like shuffle too. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe we should demote some specs. Yeah, I'll put this up here. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let me see. Solo shuffle. Leaderboards, stats, Dragonflight, solo shuffle stats. Let me just take a look really quick. I want to see. Where is it? We'll do 2,700 plus. All right, so 2,700 plus in solo shuffle. We got a good amount of BM hunters. So that's why I have BM hunters where they are. We actually have a good amount of BM hunters, like I said. Okay. Because this is not just a threes thing. I recognize that threes is different than... What about Marks hunters? Very little Marks hunters, so Marks hunters aren't doing that great. Yeah, Feral and Shuffle, I don't know. So it's like Feral and Shuffle isn't great, but I also feel like it might just be one of those things where it doesn't have good representation, right? Because like Arcane Mage, look at Arcane Mage. Arcane Mage and Shuffle has less representation than most things. It's only 7 over 2,700, you know, it's very low. So, and I think Arcane is good, you know? So numbers don't always tell the story, but they can help for sure. But yeah, this is my tier list for next season. I feel comfortable with this. Maybe Marks is one step lower. Maybe I'll put Marks a little lower.